The disappearance of the Sodder children on Christmas Eve in 1945, a fire consumed the home of the Sodder family in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jennie Sodder, along with 9 of their 10 children, were inside the house when the fire broke out in the middle of the night. The parents and 4 of the children escaped, but the other 5 children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, and Betty, were never seen again. What makes this case so mysterious is the sheer number of unanswered questions and odd occurrences surrounding the fire. No remains found after the fire, no remains of the children were found in the ashes. A crematorium expert later stated that even at high temperatures, bones would still remain, leading the Sodders to believe the children did not perish in the fire. Strange pre-fire events. A few months before the fire, a strange man came to the house, warning George that a fire would destroy his home and his children. Another visitor tried to sell George life insurance but became angry when George refused, saying, "Your house is going up in smoke. And your children are going to be destroyed." Jennie also noticed that the electrical wiring seemed tampered with, despite a recent inspection confirming it was safe. The family and the night of the fire. The Sodder family was a well-respected Italian-American family. George Sodder, the patriarch, was a successful businessman who immigrated from Italy. He and his wife Jennie had 10 children and lived in a 2-story timber house in Fayetteville, West Virginia. On the night of December 24, 1945, the family celebrated Christmas Eve together. 5 of the children, Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 9, Jennie, 8, and Betty, 5 asked for permission to stay up late and play with new toys. Jennie agreed, went to bed, and left the children awake in the living room. Timeline of the fire: 12:30 a.m. Jennie was awoken by a strange phone call from a woman asking for someone unfamiliar. She heard loud laughter in the background and hung up, later noting the oddity of the caller. Shortly after, Jennie heard a thud on the roof, followed by a rolling sound. She went back to sleep, dismissing it. 1 a.m., Jennie woke again to the smell of smoke. She discovered the house was on fire, originating from George's office. She woke her husband and the 4 children who slept upstairs. Bizarre circumstances during the fire: the ladder normally kept at the side of the house was missing and later found down an embankment far from the home. The Sodders' 2 trucks, which George tried to use to rescue the children, mysteriously wouldn't start, even though they had been working the day before. The phone call and window incident: shortly before the fire, Jennie received a strange phone call from a woman asking for someone unknown to the family. The caller laughed oddly and hung up. Later, she heard a loud bang on the roof and something rolling down before the fire began. Escape: George, Jennie, and 4 of their children fled the house, but the 5 children who had stayed in the living room were trapped. George frantically tried to re-enter the house but was thwarted at every turn. The ladder he planned to use to access the 2nd floor was missing. His trucks wouldn't start, despite working fine the day before. He even attempted to break a window but was unable to get inside due to the intensity of the fire. The house burns. The fire consumed the house within 45 minutes. Authorities arrived much later, hampered by communication issues. By morning, nothing but ashes remained. No human remains when the ashes were sifted through. No bones or other remains of the children were found. Experts said bones typically withstand fire unless it burns at extreme temperatures, over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit for hours. The Sodder fire lasted less than an hour. Jennie later conducted her own experiments, burning animal bones in high heat, but they always left remains. Tampered evidence: the family's ladder, normally propped against the house, was found discarded in a ravine. The telephone line had been cut, not damaged by the fire. This suggested intentional tampering. A witness claimed they saw someone removing blocks from George's coal trucks the night before, which could explain why they didn't start. Witness testimonies after the fire. Witnesses reported sightings of the children, suggesting they might have been kidnapped. A woman said she saw the children in a car as the fire was raging. Another woman claimed she saw the children at a rest stop 50 miles away, accompanied by two strangers who seemed hostile. A hotel owner in Charleston, West Virginia, said she saw 4 of the children with 2 men and 2 women. The group registered under an Italian-sounding name and left quickly the next morning. Desperate for answers, the Sodders erected a large billboard near their home in 1952, displaying the photos of the 5 missing children along with an appeal for information. It read, "This billboard stayed up for decades and became a local landmark, symbolizing their undying hope to uncover the truth." Despite numerous investigations, no trace of the Sodder children was ever definitively found. The Sodders placed a billboard along Route 16 with photos of their missing children, offering a reward for information. The case remains unsolved, with some believing the children were kidnapped and others suggesting they perished in the fire under strange circumstances.